Hi guys, my name is Jack, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you. The Generous Heart of Jennifer Cave. Why do terrible things happen to good girls? Because bad boys attract them like moths to a flame. Kind, often naive, they idealize their partner, and they blatantly ignore the glaring red flags. Sometimes these destructive relationships last a long time, and other times, the realization comes quicker. Sooner or later, there comes a choice: leave or continue to get burned, until the moth burns to ashes. The incident that will be discussed entered the history of Austin, Texas, USA as one of the most heinous, and probably exceedingly didactic. Jennifer was nowhere to be seen. Late on the evening of August 16, 2005, Jennifer Cave, the new girlfriend of Michael Rodriguez, was last in touch. Throughout the night, Michael waited for her call. However, exhausted from work, he unwittingly fell asleep. By morning, there were no missed calls from her. Concerned, Michael remembered Jennifer had promised to call him back once she had dropped off her friend Colton at home. He was uneasy about the fact that she had to go out of her way because Colton didn't arrange his own ride home, and generally he didn't trust Colton and his lifestyle. Meanwhile, Jennifer's roommate, with whom she lived, found Jennifer not at home. Her alarm clock was blaring, but there was no one to turn it off. It seemed Jennifer hadn't spent the night at home. Her friend became worried. They usually informed each other of their plans. She tried calling Jennifer. There was no response, which was uncharacteristic of her. Jennifer has her first day of work today. It's unlikely she would go without changing, the roommate thought. Jennifer's office clothes were neatly hanging on the rack, appearing untouched as if she hadn't taken anything with her. On August 17th at 8:30 a.m., the director of the law firm was notified of the new employee's tardiness. During her internship, Miss Cave had made a positive impression. It was odd that she would allow herself such behavior on her first day of work. By 9 a.m., colleagues called Jennifer, but she didn't answer. Around 11 a.m., the employer sent one of the managers to check on her at home. Persistent knocking went unanswered. They then tried to reach out to the secondary contact number listed on her resume. Sharon Sedgwick, Jennifer's mother, answered the call. She was surprised and seemingly disappointed by the call. She said she would try to locate her daughter. Sharon also couldn't reach Jennifer. Growing worried, suspicion crept into her mind. Apparently she's dropped everything again for that irresponsible young man, she concluded. No one in Jennifer's circle liked her ex-boyfriend, Colton Petoniak. Despite his intellect and financial status, he always seemed to drag her down. Mrs. Sedgwick called Colton. He said he hadn't seen her daughter for some time. It seemed he wasn't concerned that Jennifer was missing. For some reason, her mother didn't believe him. More than 12 hours passed with no news. After all hospitals in Austin were checked to no avail, Sharon called the police. She reported her daughter missing and expressed concern that she might be in danger at Petoniak's house. Following the call to law enforcement, Sharon, along with her husband, Jim Sedgwick, went to Colton's place to speak with him personally. However, he didn't open the door for them or the responding officers, claiming he had no desire to talk, and they had no search warrant. He knew his rights well, so the police had to leave. However, the situation was suspicious. Jennifer's car was found near Petoniak's house. Although the car was empty, its presence in the parking lot was thought-provoking. It appeared Jennifer was indeed inside the house. Sharon and Jim were certain something had happened to her. The police decided not to waste time and inspected Jennifer's house. However, they found nothing of interest. The only leads were information from Michael and Sharon, as well as Jennifer's car near Colton's house. Michael recounted how Jennifer went out to meet with friends on the evening of August 16th to celebrate getting a job. She had called him several times. Among the friends was her ex-boyfriend, Colton, who was with her at the time of the call. During the conversation, Jennifer didn't seem scared or worried, but mentioned that Colton was acting strangely, so she needed to take him home. After that, contact with her was lost. A grisly discovery. All clues led to Petoniak's residence. While the police were hesitating, Sharon and Jim decided to take matters into their own hands. They drove to Colton's place again. Upon arriving at the apartment complex, they knocked on the door, but no one answered. Sensing something was terribly wrong, the girl's parents decided to call a locksmith to open the lock. However, Jim found a better way. One of the apartment windows was open, and he decided to enter through it. Inside, everything was scattered around. It was clear that no one had maintained order in the house, and the apartment itself resembled more of a den. The man was hit by a putrid smell that immediately triggered his gag reflex. Covering his mouth with his hand, Jim moved toward where the smell was even stronger. The house was empty. Looking into the bathroom, Jennifer's stepfather noticed clutter. Upon closer inspection, he saw a dismembered female body. The head and limbs had been severed. Nearby lay trash bags and a sports bag. Horrified, Jim began to examine their contents. Inside were the remaining parts of the body. The legs of the deceased were covered with freckles, just like his stepdaughter's. However, the corpse was so mutilated that it was impossible to definitively identify who it was. The man hoped, until the last moment, that it was not his stepdaughter. After regaining consciousness, he called the emergency services. Jennifer's life. Jennifer Cave was born in March 1984 near Bishop, Texas. Her family lived in a modest farmhouse. Sharon, her mother, was in her second marriage, which brought 3 more children into the family: Jennifer herself, Lauren, and Clayton. Vanessa, from Sharon's first marriage, was the oldest sibling. Charlie, Jennifer's father, worked as a welder. He was a decent husband and father until alcohol turned him into someone mean and unbearable, hurling insults and causing trouble. When sober, he was calm and respectable. Despite the unstable home environment, the family remained close-knit. Sharon worked as an accountant at a chemical plant, while also taking care of the home and children. Unlike her more sociable brother and sister, Jennifer was shy. While they easily made friends and played outside, she preferred the company of books, which sharpened her intellect and gifted her with an excellent memory. Her passion for reading affected her eyesight, requiring her to wear glasses. Just like the braces in her mouth, the glasses didn't help her self-esteem. Confidence was not characteristic of our heroine, but that didn't stop her from actively participating in school's social and athletic activities. Eventually, her father's destructive habit led to the family's breakup. After the separation, Jennifer and Clayton stayed with Charlie. They supported him with great compassion, trying to prevent his downfall. Jennifer wanted so much to help her father quit drinking that she overlooked his lack of will to fight. 4 years after the divorce, in 1999, Sharon met a new man, Jim Sedgwick, by chance. As Jennifer entered her teenage years, she transformed. She got rid of her braces, and contact lenses replaced her glasses, turning her into a true beauty. However, her character began to change along with her appearance. She started hanging out with kids from troubled families. Yet, thanks to her high intellect, she graduated among the top of her class. Later, Jennifer enrolled in Texas State University, majoring in finance, but quickly became disillusioned with her studies and withdrew after the first semester. She spent some time attending a community college in Austin and worked part-time at a city restaurant to support herself. During this period, she dated a guy named Mark, a decent young man from a respectable family. Their relationship could have led to marriage, but Jennifer got pulled into the nightlife. She began frequenting parties and drinking. Perhaps influenced by her father's genes and negative example, her fondness for alcohol grew. Along with drinking, marijuana entered her life. Sharon tried to influence her daughter, but to no avail. It was during one of these nights out that Jennifer met Colton Petoniak, the tragic end of Jennifer Cave. Jennifer Cave's life was tragically cut short by a gunshot wound to her right arm. The bullet passed completely through her arm and into her chest, striking her heart. The injury to a vital artery led to rapid blood loss, resulting in her untimely demise. What happened to her body afterward is horrifying. Forensic experts discovered multiple stab wounds across her body, with her chest and neck suffering the most damage. In total, the assailant inflicted 18 post-mortem stab wounds. The perpetrator then decapitated her and fired a shot through her throat into her head, intending to dispose of her body discreetly. By severing her upper limbs, he placed them in a prepared bag and trash bags. Her torso was left in the bathtub, covered with a saw. Something thwarted the assailant's initial plan, forcing a change in his actions. Evidence uncovered. At the time, Jennifer Cave's body was discovered, and the police arrived. They had not yet obtained a warrant to search Colton Petoniak's apartment. Initially, the officers could do nothing but observe the victim's body and secure the area. Once they finally obtained the necessary permission, a thorough search of the apartment was conducted. They found 3.38 caliber shell casings. The firearm used was located in Petoniak's car, which was parked in the garage. A large blood-stained machete was retrieved from the dishwasher. Toxicology reports indicated the presence of alcohol, marijuana, and methamphetamine in the victim's bloodstream. In one of the rooms, there was a road atlas with pages torn out, highlighting routes in southwest Texas. This clue shed light on the apartment owner's absence. Colton Petoniak had fled. Law enforcement immediately issued a warrant for his apprehension. Who is Colton Petoniak? Colton originated from Bryant, Arkansas. He grew up as a sharp-witted boy with impressive looks, enjoying popularity among girls during his teenage years. His father ran a successful agricultural business that flourished year after year, allowing the family to live comfortably. However, this abundance spoiled Colton. On one hand, he was ambitious and goal-oriented. On the other, he could become aggressive and hot-tempered. Colton was passionate about skateboarding and played the guitar. He attended a Catholic boys' middle school in Little Rock, where he excelled academically and frequently made the honor roll. He was also a National Merit Scholarship finalist. In 2000, Petoniak was one of 7 senior finalists at his school and among 166 in the state. By his senior year, he began to encounter problems with alcohol and fights, largely because he was part of a group of local affluent kids who led a leisurely lifestyle, often throwing parties with all the ensuing consequences. Nonetheless, thanks to high graduation scores, he easily got admitted to the University of Texas at Austin. Rather than focusing on his studies, he continued his wayward lifestyle, losing friends and gaining a reputation as a frequent drinker and marijuana user. He could have had a bright future if not for his penchant for self-destruction. After being expelled from a university fraternity, he began distributing controlled substances. His parents fought to curb his addiction, even taking him back home. A fateful meeting. In the spring of 2004, Jennifer and Colton met at a party. They were instantly drawn to each other. Jennifer, who often idealizes people, decided to give a potentially dangerous relationship a chance rather than run from it. Their friendship gradually grew into love. Over time, Jennifer began using illegal drugs with Colton. His luxurious apartment gradually turned into a den of excess, and using illegal substances together became a household rule. As a result, Jennifer's addiction only got worse. Parents repeatedly tried to tear her away from these addictions. They even gave her a car, hoping to encourage her to be home more often. However, each time she returned, her promises quickly faded. Colton's condition worsened. He became increasingly paranoid and began carrying a gun and knife in an attempt to mimic the image of a gangster. In 2004, Petoniak was arrested for possession of illegal substances. He even went through a rehabilitation program once, but Colton showed no sincere desire to fight his addiction. Separation. One day, Jennifer's parents decided to visit her. However, the visit brought disappointment. Jennifer had not kept her promises, had lost a significant amount of weight, and looked generally unwell. Her family suggested she undergo treatment at a rehabilitation center, to which she flatly refused. Upset, Sharon and Jim cut off her financial support, believing this tough love approach would encourage her to take control of her life. But left without money, Jennifer found no better option than to move in with Colton. What happened in his apartment is hard to say, but after living with him for a month, Jennifer decided to leave. A friend offered her a room and support. Miss Cave shared her fears. She no longer felt safe with Colton but did not delve into details. Something clearly frightened her as she refused to reconcile with her ex. One day he came to her, asking her to come back. Jennifer remained firm, especially when she saw the knife Colton brought with him. She asked Colton to calm down and suggested they remain friends. Surprisingly, he agreed. Contact with him was minimized, and moreover, she began reconnecting with her parents. Finally, her life seemed to be getting back on track. In early 2005, Jennifer started a new relationship with a guy named Scott, a single father who appeared quite decent. His lifestyle was the polar opposite of Colton's. Scott worked as a waiter at a restaurant, played keyboards in a band, and was a good singer, all while leading a sober life. In turn, Jennifer began to feel better about herself, even looking healthier by his side. She took on the role of a homemaker and became a mother figure to his daughter. However, she was still liable to leave at a moment's notice if Colton called. The arrival of Laura Hall. Eventually, Colton moved to a new apartment complex with a pool named Orange Tree close to the university, making it a hotspot for daily parties. His behavior continued to be erratic, with some friends reporting they had seen him engaging in Russian roulette by himself. It was during one of these phases that he met Laura Ashley Hall. She was a frequent attendee of these parties and became infatuated with him, exhibiting jealousy towards any female in Colton's circle, especially Jennifer. Laura was perceived in various ways by their peers, most commonly described as arrogant and capable of putting anyone in their place. Laura, like Colton, came from a well-off family. Miss Hall was athletic, participating in various competitions, and she was academically successful, showing great promise. After high school, she enrolled in university but soon dropped out, opting for a job and a leisurely lifestyle instead. Before long, Colton and Laura started dating. Like Jennifer, she was deeply drawn to him. When he was sentenced to 60 days in jail in June 2005, Laura sent him all her earnings, even going into debt. Friends noted that she changed for the worse, becoming bold, neglecting her job and her personal care. Many believed she had also started using banned drugs. Unlike with Jennifer, Colton disregarded her feelings, even to the extent of extinguishing cigarettes on her. A new chapter. Begins, ends. During this time, Jennifer ended her relationship with Scott. She felt unworthy of his family and did not want to cause them any trouble. Jennifer occasionally communicated with Colton, who was still infatuated with her. However, she did not rekindle their previous relationship, keeping their interactions strictly platonic. All Jennifer desired was to secure a job and return to college. In August, a promising opportunity arose in her life. She began a new relationship with Michael Rodriguez and, most importantly, found an excellent job. After several days of training at a law firm, she performed so impressively that she was offered a consultant position with a respectable salary. Jennifer was proud of herself and truly happy. On August 16th, she decided to celebrate the start of her new life with friends. That evening, they went to a bar and then headed to a club. According to a friend, the bouncer didn't let Colton in because of his appearance. This might have led him to seek out controlled substances. The investigation continues. In an effort to shed light on the events of that fateful night, investigators interviewed Colton's neighbors. They managed to uncover intriguing information. Around 3 a.m. on August 17th, Nora Sullivan heard a knock at her door. Opening it, she saw Colton standing there looking suspicious with blood on him and a pistol visible at his waist. Startled, she inquired what had happened. Colton told her he had gotten into a shootout with some individuals. Nora didn't hear any gunshots and thought he was lying as usual. She closed the door and peeked through the peephole to see him eventually walk away. None of the neighbors interviewed heard any gunshots that night either. Detectives also discovered that Colton had been in contact with Laura twice that night. The morning of August 17th, he visited a hardware store, where he purchased a saw, several masks, and gloves, as well as a significant amount of cleaning supplies. Using these, he dismembered Jennifer's body and planned to clean the apartment to erase any evidence of the crime. It's possible that the unexpected arrival of Sharon and Jim startled him and prompted his flight. Apprehension. A critical discovery in Colton's apartment led investigators directly to his trail. Colton, along with Laura Hall, was found in Mexico. They had crossed the border in Laura's car. Local authorities distributed Colton's photo nationwide. During this time, the couple enjoyed themselves, visiting cinemas and restaurants. They stayed in a hotel in the border town of Piedras Negras, where an employee recognized Colton as the sought-after individual. The employee took his photo and sent it to the police. Mexican law enforcement apprehended the duo and transported them to the border, where U.S. officials arrested Pitoniak. Laura Hall was released. Before her release, Laura caused a scene with the Border Patrol, loudly protesting Colton's innocence and obstructing the arrest process. Later, she admitted that their trip to Mexico was the best experience she'd ever had. In total, they spent about 5 days abroad. Trial. On August 23, 2005, Colton Petoniak was charged with a crime against Jennifer Cave. A month later, Laura Hall was arrested and charged with tampering with evidence and obstruction of justice. The prosecution presented evidence found in the apartment, including a videotape from the store and a receipt listing items purchased. Colton said he did not remember anything about the night of August 16th, 17, attributing his amnesia to heavy drinking and the use of illegal drugs. Initially, he did not deny hurting Jennifer, but insisted he did not remember anything. He claimed that he woke up and discovered his ex-girlfriend's body in the bathroom. After discovering the body, he contacted Laura, who advised him to buy a saw and cleaning supplies. She helped dismember the victim and hide the body parts in bags. The prosecution argued that she was responsible for Jennifer's post-mortem injuries. Colton later hinted that Hall may have been motivated by jealousy, suggesting her involvement in an act of revenge against her rival. However, both defendants pleaded not guilty. Nevertheless, the evidence of his involvement was overwhelming. First, Jennifer's body was found in Colton's apartment. His fingerprints and DNA were found on the machete, saw, and firearm found at the crime scene, and the weapon in his car was identified as the crime weapon. In addition, he was the one who purchased the cleaning supplies from the store. The jury had no doubt of his guilt. On January 29, 2007, Colton Petoniak was sentenced to 55 years in prison with parole eligibility after serving at least half of his sentence. His earliest release date will not occur until 2060. The case against Laura Hall proved complex. The prosecution suggested she could have acted out of blind affection for Colton. Laura's DNA was found on one of the victim's shoes, a store towel, and even the firearm used. The defense argued this only proved her involvement in disposing of the body, not in the initial act. They couldn't prove she was the one who fired the first shot, attributed to Jennifer's head post-mortem. No evidence placed her at the scene at the time of the crime. Laura insisted she only learned of the crime when Colton told her and claimed he forced her to flee to Mexico with him. However, witnesses from their time in Mexico reported the couple seemed to enjoy their trip. In 2007, Laura Hall was found guilty of obstructing justice and tampering with evidence, receiving a 6-year prison sentence. A subsequent trial in 2010 resulted in the maximum sentence of 11 years and a $14,000 fine. Laura was paroled on March 15, 2018, with GPS monitoring, completing her sentence in August of the same year. Her whereabouts thereafter remain unknown. Was Colton framed? Colton Petoniak remains incarcerated. He has filed multiple appeals, all of which have been unsuccessful. In these appeals, he consistently stated that he has no memory of the tragic night's events. However, he revealed that there are witnesses who claim Laura confessed to Jennifer's demise. He alleges that during the trial, the prosecutors were aware of this information but failed to disclose it to his defense team, suggesting a possible setup. Although Petoniak's legal motions were denied, this revelation raised questions among the public. Moreover, Jennifer's parents believe that Laura's punishment was insufficient. They are convinced that she played a more significant role than she admits. Unlike Colton, Hall has never expressed remorse or regret for Jennifer's death. She referred to Jennifer only as that girl or the dead girl, sometimes even using derogatory terms. To this day, the exact events of that fateful night remain unknown. Only Jennifer knows the truth that the walls of Petoniak's residence silently conceal. Sadly, the dead cannot speak. Jennifer's life was cut short in her prime. Regrettably, she realized too late an essential truth. Staying away from certain individuals and ceasing communication with them could mean saving oneself. Thanks for watching, guys. That was Jack with you. Subscribe to the channel. There are many shocking stories ahead.